Be sure to follow our podcast on these available platforms.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nocturnal Movie Club. I am joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Jay King and Ethan Singh. We are breaking down the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5. Ethan, break it down for us, please.
I would love to, because right after that most hugely dramatic sequence at the end of last episode, we immediately join Walker running away from the literal scene of the crime. He is chased down by Bucky and Sam, who engage with him in a fight to retrieve back the shield. They are successful. They break his arm and they take the shield back. Captain America is then forced to answer for what he's done in sort of a tribunal, sort of court-martial kind of thing, but not exactly. The senators strip him of his rank and his authority. And then in a very shocking scene, Julia Louis-Dreyfus steps in a very mysterious fashion, hands him a blank card and says, "We'll reach out and be in touch," giving him some sort of silver lining hope of some sort of clandestine operation to come in the future. From there, we see a bit of Carly and her henchmen discussing what to do next. Her men are not sure what they should be doing, that things have gone a little too far. Carly instead goes full megalomaniac and double down, that we need to continue doing what we're doing and ramp it up even further. From there, Sam and Bucky are both starting to think, what can we do next? And there is no immediate next option. So the two buddies finally have a buddy moment where they go back down to where Sam is. They work on rebuilding his boat and fixing it back up. But Sam still has the shield, and he's starting to answer some pretty big questions. Like, now that he has the shield, should he keep it this time, knowing how he felt about what he did last time? He goes to see Isaiah Bradley, the black super soldier who was imprisoned for 30 years, to ask him his opinion. And he gives a very negative take on what it means to be Captain America. He practices throwing the shield around with Sam. He gets his own take from Sam. Throws the shield around with Bucky. He gets his own take from him about what Captain America means to him. And then he talks to his sister, and his sister tells him, this is what it means to be Captain America. It means to be whatever you want it to be. You don't have to let anybody tell you what it means. And then we finally get down to Sam trying to figure out what the next step could be. Bucky returns to New York to try to resolve his past. And Carly and team move in for their final move to try to stop a GRC vote. And the episode ends on a cliffhanger.
That cliffhanger being the Pulp Fiction scene. What's in the suitcase?
His Captain America suit, duh. And his new wings.
Wings, right?
Yeah, new wings plus his new cap suit. Like, that's what's in the
Made out of, vibranium?
Vibranium, that's it. For some reason, I want to say adamantium. I don't know. Wrong universe.
Yeah, Marvel. It's all Marvel.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Now Wolverine, buddy.
Gosh darn it.
We'll be getting some animation. I wonder if when Wolverine does join the MCU, I wonder if it's still going to be adamantium or will it be vibranium?
Probably. I have no idea.
Vibranium Wolverine. That might be really cool. What's stronger, vibranium?
I think canonically adamantium is supposed to be, but
really,
it's supposed to. Well, that's like the comic book thing. It's like his skeleton is adamantium, which is the hardest thing on the planet. But vibranium is supposed to be the same thing, I think, in the MCU today. So
whatever the hell Thor's hammer is made of, supposed to be super dumb strong too.
But did it get destroyed? Didn't it? It got destroyed in Endgame.
Hela.
By Hela, but so did the shield.
I guess you're right. Because this is not the original shield, though, right? It got rebuilt.
Well, that's another question we really don't know. It's like one of the small, minute things, but like when Cap came back with it, well, remember Tony gave him a new shield in Endgame. Mm-hmm. And then he took that. We don't know if that new shield was vibranium or not that Tony gave him, because remember Thanos chopped that shit up like some peppers. And but then when he went back into the past, I don't think he took a shield with him. Remember when he went to go bring back the stones? He just
didn't.
had the hammer. Yeah. So who knows where that shield is from, or if it's enemy, or if it's vibranium, or wherever, but it's a shield.
Got a lot of work to do on some simple things like, what is this shield made out of?
Yeah, what is this shield? Whose shield is this? From what timeline is it from?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, we don't know.
I love how like the beginning of our episode 5 discussion is like the elements of Marvel.
I know.
Right, and this goddamn shield. Well, then, you know what? The shield is an important part of this episode, though, because it's all about the shield and like what the shield means and things that it represents different people and the interpretation of the shield. So it's really that we're talking about it makes sense. Another home run episode by Marvel.
Oh,
Jesus
for sure.
Christ.
Very much.
And can I say, like, from last episode with the bloody shield, and we're like, it leaves us questioning what does this symbol mean, and literally the next episode, this
It's
one,
all about
it's
what
just
the symbol
exploring.
means. It's perfect.
Genius. My
I mean,
gosh.
but it's so obvious. It's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like it's not like, you know, sometimes stories go from A to J and then like what happened? But no, the story is just thematically it's just perfect.
That's why people hate on Marvel. It's simple, but it's good. You don't need anything more
No,
complicated.
and they're not
It's
perfect
good.
all the time, but like
It's not perfect,
this,
true, but
yeah, but this is damn near perfect.
it really is.
I thought the fight between Walker, Bucky, and Sam was slightly underwhelming. Slightly, I thought the fight could have been a little bit cooler and choreographed. I mean, there was a lot of great moments where I was surprised. I was surprised by how much Sam was able to hold his own.
I know.
In that fight with the two super soldiers. So that I thought that was great. And whoever has been doing the show has really been playing up how to really utilize Sam and his wings and stuff, which has been really awesome seeing that properly done. But I will say the fight was just a little. They took him out a little too easily for me.
Oh, too easily. I thought it was too difficult because I thought Bucky versus Walker is a one-on-one and Sam is just the piece that throws the scales out of balance.
Yeah, I thought it was too easily done.
I thought the scene was perfectly fine.
One thing I think though is that I would have wanted to see Bucky and Sam working better, but I understand thematically they're not 100% in sync with one another, so that shouldn't happen yet. So I understood why they did it that way, but yeah.
And I thought they were gonna kill him in that scene. I thought like, oh, this is by Walker, but no, he's still. Yeah, I thought I thought they were gonna kill him.
I thought they actually ripped his arm off. Like I was like left hanging there for a moment. Like, did they rip his arm off? Like,
no, too cliche.
That would be kind of apropos considering Bucky already is missing an arm.
I think Bucky almost ripped no one's arm off considering that he has like a thing with arms. I might rip your throat up, but never your arm. I thought that conversation between Sam and Isaiah Bradley was.
It was good.
It was so good. It's so poignant, so to the point, so representative of conversations that you see in real life when discussing these type of themes. It was, I think, obviously it's so great when you're behind the scenes talent. It's obviously of color. They can write to our experiences. So it was just great to see that conversation. Conversation you would never have time, which is the great thing about these Disney Plus shows. Like you would never see that in a movie because we just don't have the time to address those things and those minute conversations, not minute, but those conversations that you really see behind closed doors per se, not on a stage like this where you see, us talking about the mistreatment of African American people. And especially on a platform like Marvel. So it was just great for it to be addressed because it's kind of like the elephant in the room. Like clearly it's like something we need to talk about. So I thought the conversation was great and you got to see two different sides, two different perspectives on the situation too. So I thought it was just great and it just opened up more discussion and make more people want to do this and have these conversations.
I loved the way Anthony Mackie was bouncing off of Isaiah Bradley when he was hearing this, how like internally it's shaping the vision of the kind of Captain America he would have to be.
And I thought it was such a bold move by Disney to they normally try to beat around the bush with key topics. They don't want to be too controversial. But I think there was a scene in that moment where they literally asked, like, are you okay with being a Black Captain America? Like, what does that mean to these people? Are they okay? Are the people going to be able to accept something like that? It's a bold question to ask.
Even when Bucky tells Sam, like, Steve and I didn't think about this when we know it was the idea to give you the shield. Like, it was more like, like we didn't know. And also, it plays on different things. Like, back when Steve and Bucky were in, I guess, the 60s or the
40s.
The 40s.
Yeah.
It's a different time. So it's not stuff they really thought about So it was all that stuff. Just I thought was great.
And then having that,
It
there
makes
was such a
sense.
good amount of balance. Like we just talked with Oli for background to people who are listening to our podcasts. And he mentioned how the director, Kari, is so balanced in her approach to everything. And this one, I think, is a good example. We have Isaiah giving his whole thing about showing how personal experience can really turn you off from an idea and from people. Captain America's
Personal experience is understatement.
right.
What happened to Isaiah happened to so many people in real life.
Oh, yeah.
And based off of less, imaginary things, situations. So it was just like jaded is not even a word. He was the government robbed this man, and it's also like a play not just on African American people, but also on soldiers, like how so many veterans are mistreated. So there was a lot of conversations happening here that I thought were great, like the mistreatment of veterans and how they just are kind of discarded in a way after coming home from sacrificing.
Because his argument was like a race thing, but it was mostly predicated on his service. It was all about like how the government treats you, builds you up, and throws you away.
Yeah, even with Walker, like
exactly
to a degree, like even like we want to hate him, but like he was also just like a tool of the government that was mistreated and thrown out after you let him loose. Like, so
it's really interesting in retrospect because like if Isaiah would hate Walker if he saw him and met him, but if Walker and Isaiah actually talked it out, they'd probably agree that this government really doesn't do us any favors, which is kind of interesting.
Is that they let Walker be Captain America versus Isaiah.
They just
we don't know what those
other
we don't know what other colors those other test subjects were because we find out later that the U.S. government made a series of super soldiers. Just like how they did with Bucky in Civil War, we saw that they made a ton of like 5 more super soldiers. So I don't know, but it was definitely like some great thematic things as always with these episodes.
And then we see Bucky's opinion being completely different. How Captain America to him has been for him best friend and then a symbol of hope. And then I think the conversation Sam has with his sister is also really good, where she's just like, don't let anybody tell you what to believe. If you think it's bad, it's bad. It's what you make of it.
Well, that was a big thing in this show was family. Was like how Bucky, for him, he said this shield represents the last piece of family I have in this world, and then at the same time Sam is fighting for his family, and then at the same time we also see Sam welcoming Bucky into his family, and they are slowly becoming. So it's just like all these like webs. Oh, beautiful writing here.
Yeah, it really is. Like the way that Kari managed this whole entire series, like it's balanced. Like everything in this episode got the right amount of time that it needed. Like perfectly.
Such a well done show. Such a well done show.
And then we saw Sharon Carter for a little bit, and my theme is still here. I'm like, did you turn bad, Sharon?
You know what the funny thing is? After watching this episode, I saw Jeremy Johns put up his thoughts on the episode, and he's a little behind. He's still questioning. He's like, I think she might be the villain here.
Okay.
I mean, I told you guys last week, Sharon is the power broker.
This one was a bit more than on the nose, right? Like you might have little suspicions. This one, it's like, okay, she's calling shots and things are happening.
I'm telling you, like just the way the set looks, it pretty much puts her in that light.
Yeah, you look like a villain.
Yeah. Oh, and good question for OJ, our canon man, and Jake too, who knows a lot too. Like she gets a call in this episode from a man, and then a similar man with a similar background goes to meet Carly and friends. Is that connected? Because I can't remember the nationality of the person that called Carter, but it sounded like the same guy, like the same nationality of a person coming. So I think it's a whole double agent operation run by her, because if she is the power broker, and we're like 99.9% sure she is, she's going to want to get her revenge on Carly before Sam and Bucky even get a chance to intervene.
Quite possibly. Did Sharon send him? Maybe.
He's toying with us, Ethan.
Huh? He's toying with us, is right, yeah.
Did Sharon send him? I don't know. Like, tonight, is she pulling the strings behind the scenes? Maybe. Like, it's a kind of, I'm so excited to be surprised next week, when we see the finale.
I can't believe next week's the last episode.
I know, right?
I don't want it to be the last episode.
No, it's
crazy.
so good. It's been so amazing. Yeah, this episode, I believe, it's rating time. I'm giving it a 9.
Ooh.
I'm
Okay.
giving it
Fine.
a 9.
Finally getting the 9s out of you, OJ. Dang.
Yeah, it gets a
Thank
solid
goodness.
9 only because I know next week's gonna be a 10.
Where would
I
I
think
give
with
it?
me, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
go. You go, Jake. I'm still thinking. I'm
Uh,
deliberating
I'm
here.
with you, OJ. I'm gonna give it a 9. I felt like you said, the scene with Isaiah Bradley was beautifully done. Every scene in this,
Yeah, that scene itself gets a goddamn 9. It's so good.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like everything, like got the right amount of time. It was nice to see our protagonists come together, helping each other out.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the Dora's taking
Zemo.
Zemo off to the raft. Like unexpected. You know, you think Zemo's just gonna run away. Like Zemo's just like kind. Are you a stand-up guy? Like you just
Zemo's the best. He's my favorite
turn
character in
me.
this
I
show.
mean, other than murdering King T'Chaka, like I like kind of love you. Just like a great character. Like you're just like gonna go to win prison like peacefully. Like no fight, no. You know, I think obviously he's not going to stay in the raft. He's going to be like rescued and like I think pulled by what's the guy's name from Hulk. Um, he's the state secretary of state now from Civil War. He's Sokovia Accords.
Oh, I know the guy,
Yeah,
the guy with the mustache kind of thing.
yeah, William Hurt's character. He's going to pull him when he forms the Thunderbirds. He won't be in the raft for long though. Zemo
He's
will
too
be
good to
back.
hide. He's too good
Yeah,
to hide.
Yeah.
Zemo will be back, people. Just expect a really cool end credit scene.
Yeah, I mean, like from a storytelling perspective, I like the way Zemo went off in this one, like where there's an openness for him to come back, but it's like just the way that he went, like he was just like so graceful.
Yeah, it was classy, very class.
I actually think now that I'm thinking about it, I'd actually give this episode a knock on that Zemo scene. Not for Zemo, but for Bucky. Because Bucky has this very dramatic moment where he's like, I'm gonna kill you, but here's a joke, the bullets are in my hand, I'm not gonna kill you. And it kind of shows that he's changed, right?
Right, it was all to symbolize his growth of like what he was.
But in the first episode, he has the opportunity to kill the crooked senator who's arranging kills, and he doesn't kill her either. He just gets her arrested, which is the exact same thing he does here. To me, it's like it didn't show like he changed too much in a way. He's just kind of like pretty much this. He's doing the same thing, but with a little different motivation. He's been nicer about it. I don't remember him saying anything about like, "Hey, I forgive you." You know, you control my mind, but now we're cool. That would have probably been a bit more of a character arc. That's just a minor tick, though, honestly. But I thought it could have been a little more impactful somehow.
But that brings me to something that I also really loved about this episode, how they're saying if you really want to have the change, you got to do the work. What Sam was saying to Bucky, like in terms of avenging yourself, like to help the people that you wronged, to help better yourself. Like it was just a really nice theme to have in this episode, especially considering everything that we saw in episode 1, episode 3, when Bucky still had a little bit of that Winter Soldier in him, how he was kind of hiding away from his therapy. Like it's just kind of cool seeing that coming to light again.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm on a 9 out of 10 with you guys here too. I think the dialogue and everything about this scene thematically was amazing. And there was one scene in this episode that made me go, "Oh boy, this is quintessential European filmmaking, and I love it." As Sam is just thinking about what does this shield mean to me, there's two brilliant scenes. In fact, when Bucky wakes up and he sees Sam's nephews playing with the shield. Children don't care about these things. These issues don't affect children. To them, it means whatever they want it to be when they grow up, because it's all about your experience. And as Sam is running around the house and he's training, he sees the kids tracing the star on the shield, and it's sort of like these kids like this thing. They look up to it. They love it. So for them, it's not a symbol of hate as it would be to Isaiah. It could be whatever you want it to be.
But it's also, I think that motivates him to like put the suit on.
Also true.
Yeah. That's like, let me shape what that image looks like for them. Like if these kids, can see me wearing the star, it's going to change the view of it.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of things at play in it. Quintessential European.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Let's not forget Sam's training sequence.
It was good.
Beast.
It was good.
This episode had two quintessential 80s moments. It had an 80s training montage and an 80s
Yes.
building up montage. So come on, guys. 80s films. Thank God they're still alive somehow.
Yeah,
It's great.
and yet they all seem at home in this episode. Like nothing jars with one another.
Yeah.
No,
Such a
all
breath of fresh
perfect.
air.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And also, just another note, I think a writer's most difficult challenge is visualizing how do these characters live outside of a fight scene, outside of a combat scene. And we literally saw that, and it was beautiful. I mean, like, that just shows you they really thought about these characters. They wrote it all well. So, solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you brought that up, Ethan, because that always used to be a problem that I had when it came to watching the Marvel movies, because you
Yeah.
barely see what they do outside of the fight scenes.
But
Usually,
it's hard. You don't get that much time, so that's a really
Right.
good thing about these Disney Plus shows. Like you can really have fleshed out stories. So you know, just we always knew Marvel could do it. Now that they are afforded the time, you know, we're seeing it.
It's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week for the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale. Share with us your predictions down below. I know we're right, of course. Sorry for me ruining the show all season.
no, you ain't.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna fuck up Loki for you guys too.
Love it.
When that starts. And Black Widow. I think what comes out first? Black Widow, no. Black Widow, then Loki. I think it's Black Widow May,
I
right?
don't think isn't it Loki first?
No,
Or- oh,
Loki's
wait.
June. I think Black Widow's May.
Yeah, so Black Widow's first.
Yeah, Black Widow's first. Oh, and then yeah. So
Wait, actually, no, wait. Black Widow's July 9th.
oh, July. So Loki first, then Black Widow.
Oh man, but
When did
Black
they push it back again?
When they announced the Disney Plus date.
But Black Widow, you got to pay $30 to see that, right? Disney's out of control with this pricing, man. 'Cause,
But you know everyone's going to do it.
I don't know. I'm gonna be very
We all
iffy
need
about
to
this
get
one.
fully vaccinated, get together, and watch it ourselves.
Okay, that's a plan for me. That's
Well,
a plan
I'm
for
sure
me.
one of us will be invited to our screening.
Yes, we should. At least one of us should go see it. Because gosh darn it, $30 is insane.
So here's the thing: one of us will be invited to screening. So
It's a
we'll
shame
see
too,
about that.
because Raya and the Last Dragon, like I would imagine, would get a lot more viewership if they didn't have that high of a price.
Yeah,
They
Well,
would definitely would have. But I
it's-
think if
it's gonna
anything,
go free in June, right? June 1st or something.
Is it?
no, not June 1st. Well, it comes out in July, and then it'll
No,
be
Ryan
free.
Last Dragon's out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been out for like a.
Yeah, it's been out. Yeah.
The way they're doing the premium thing is like you got to pay for like the first 3 months, and then after that, it's just regular streaming.
Yeah.
Weird business model.
It's all just to get social media trending. It's the only reason you would do that is for social media.
Yes.
Probably that's true.
Probably.
Well, they got to keep the people on, and also they've raised the subscription price by $1. Disney guys, come on, what's going on here?
Yeah. Guys, we'll be back next week. See you then.
Bye.